Doom for South Alabama if they can get a fuller effort here at the plate. First pitch, bouncer off the bat of Kendra Falby, handled by Brandstetter to Stagner, and we are underway. One pitch, one out. Good start for Tori Miller, who kind of had a rough go of things. She was brought in for the last 1/3 of an inning yesterday and gave up those 2 runs. It was a walk-off when it was all said and done for the Gators. And so not exactly the way that South Alabama wanted to leave the field, with that taste in their mouth against Florida. Or maybe they'll use that as motivation and say, hey, we didn't play anywhere near our best game in the 1-0 contest.
That's what their head coach, Becky, said. Becky Clark, she was saying, we did not perform well, not just in the circle, but offensively as well. That's been something that they've been struggling to get going for South Alabama, is their bats, offense, runs. You need those to win. And if they are wanting to compete here today with Florida, you're going to need to get your offense going, because you look through the gauntlet that is the top half of their lineup. And talking to Tim Walton, he said, our only intention, our only goal, score as many runs as possible.
It was a 9-1 run rule win in 5 innings for Florida against South Alabama in the 1-0 game. And the catalysts of this Florida lineup, the 1-4 hitters of Falby, Otis, Wallace, and Erickson, really how they go, the Gators go. A team that is averaging 8 runs per game. I mean, arguably the top offensive team in the SEC. Certainly one of the best conferences in the country, absolutely the deepest, as all 13 teams made the NCAA tournament this year, and there's a 1-out walk to Otis. So here is Skylar Wallace. 4 for 5, a homer, a double, 6 runs driven in, 3 runs scored, and oh yeah, she's stolen 2 bases in 3 attempts this year. She's got 34 swipes on the season and has played stellar defense at that.
What I think about her is, you're going to hear time and time again, especially as a hitter like her, a player like her, she makes impacts for teams. She creates energy, and whenever she's down, you kind of saw Florida, they were still winning games, but they suffered a little bit of a lull. And sometimes whenever you're going through a slump, it's that self-belief of, I know who I am, not going to stress, just need one swing.
High drive, there's one swing to center. Brasher makes the play against the wall. Throw back to first, not in time, but an extra base hit robbed by Brasher in center.
I mean, this is what South Alabama has shown defensively time and time again. This one is absolutely smashed by Skylar Wallace, but look at that leaping grab. As soon as her foot touched that warning track, Brasher, she was jumping back, getting it, knowing not only do I need to catch this, but throwing and making sure the runner doesn't advance.
The type of plays that can absolutely change the tide of a ball game. Is Wallace robbed by Brasher, just the second time that she has been retired here this weekend. That'll bring up Jocelyn Erickson. Oklahoma transfer. Just recently named SEC Player of the Year. Second straight Gator to earn that honor after Wallace got it in 2023. He's driven in 75 runs this year to go along with 12 home runs. Those 75 RBIs are 16 more than second place in the SEC. That's how dominant she has been this season.
Right now, it hasn't been the balls left over the plate. I mean, the one that Skylar hit very well, that was a good pitch. Not too much on the plate. She just covers the corners so well, but behind 3-1, ready to have a runner on base from a walk. I want to go out and attack.
Full count on Erickson with 2 outs. We'll do it again. Florida with 4 runs driven in with 2 outs in yesterday's win over South Alabama. They all came in the 5th inning once Miller came in. So Olivia Lackey waits and hopes that she gets one more chance to pitch in her college career. She has been such a workhorse, though. Started the previous 3 games. That ball's tanked. Deep right. No doubt about it. 2-0 Gators. Erickson leaves the yard.
Jocelyn Erickson. Not only is she the SEC Player of the Year, she is probably the player of the day. Look at that, being able to come out in the top of the 1st inning with 2 outs and land the first blow. That is impressive. And then right away going to her teammate and saying, hey, this is what I saw. And this is what she saw indeed. Middle of the plate, up elevated. That is where she loves to drive that pitch. And she knew right away that was an instant jog. And how about that fan? Almost got it.
So an early 2-0 lead spotted to Florida, now scoring 90 runs in the 1st inning, which is more than on a Sunday where you need to win 2 games.
It's difficult indeed, but you can't look too far ahead. Right now, your game is on the line. Your season is on the line. And yes.
Reagan Walsh flips it off the glove of Brandstetter. She's on with 2 away.
Only in the 1st inning, but considering what happened last game and what we've seen so far, 3 back-to-back-to-back hard-hit balls. And again, these aren't too much over the plate. They're just elevated. And right now, Florida, they are attacking those hard, wanting those up pitches.
Katie Kistler now looks at strike 1. Well, Tori Miller transferred in from Coastal Carolina before the season, and before yesterday hadn't pitched since May 3rd against Southern Miss. Did not appear in the Sun Belt tournament. Missed a little bit upstairs there with the off speed. And that was a tough outing for her as well. 3 earned runs allowed in 4 innings and a 5-4 loss. And then yesterday gives up 2 earned in a 1/3 of an inning with a couple of walks that ended in a run rule. But again, it's not like she hasn't had success against SEC teams. She got the start, tossed 5 shutout innings in their win at Mississippi State, which catapulted them from 38 to 30 in the RPI and gave them a lot of breathing room come Selection Sunday.
It's just finding that confidence whenever you're a pitcher and you go a long stretch without throwing. You have something to prove. You have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder, but you do feel some pressure. Letting go of that pressure, playing free. That has been the theme of South Alabama.
Shallow center field. Brasher makes the play on the slide. Boy, she looked great in center so far. 3 for 8. Couple of runs, couple of stolen bases, and she has been a spark plug when South Alabama has played well. Though this is a team that is not designed for a slugfest. They're averaging just less than 4 runs per game. That was 10th in the Sun Belt out of 12 teams. They've only scored 7 total runs this weekend, and 5 of them came in that win last night in the second elimination game against Florida Gulf Coast. So you know that one of the mantras going into this is going to be, hey, we've got to hold Florida's offense down to give ourselves a chance.
And I think also we got to up our game offensively. We need to get better at identifying pitches, getting rid of pitches like that one right there. That was a tough 0-2 count. That was a good eye by Brasher. But being able to eliminate pitchers and being able to go and say, all right, I want that low rise. That's the one I'm going to go after.
Rothrock certainly living up to her accolades, not only SEC Freshman of the Year, former Gatorade National High School Player of the Year, along with her first baseman, Avid Brown. This is the top recruiting class, this freshman class in the entire country, coming in for Tim Walton. And they performed that way.
You think of the youth on this team. By this point in the season, you're no longer a freshman, but you've never been in this position before. It's a lot of firsts every single time, not just for freshmen, but for transfers.
Brasher punches it out left way, and that's in foul ground for Otis. 1 out here in the first. This is a Florida team that absolutely expects to cruise through the Gainesville Regional, and hosts win 75% of the time. It happens so often. They're looking to get to their 15th Super Regionals. It would be their 10th trip in the last 11 full seasons. That's bounded just foul down the left field line. The only time, obviously, a forgettable one for them last year, falling in the regional final to Stanford. Of course, the Cardinal under Nigel Kennedy got all the way to the Women's College World Series, and they will play for a trip to the Supers once again. But I think it's interesting with how Florida has rebounded from last year, which I think everybody would say it's fair to call a down season. Anytime that you don't get to the Supers, it's going to be a little bit of a disappointment. Things never really clicked for the Gators, and it is the complete opposite. I mean, a total 180 the way that they have played this year. And for South Alabama, they've never been to that stage. Looking for their first Super Regional berth ever, 2013. They were just one game away. They beat Florida State, and then they were leading 6-1 into the 7th in Game 7 and fell 7-6 in extras. Tipped back into the glove of Erickson, 2 outs.
Nice pitch by Rothrock going up in the zone. This is a rise ball that starts mid-thigh and then finishes up at the shoulder. You can see there, it is difficult to be able to discern those two pitches, and that is what makes her so good and so lethal.
2 outs for the leading home run hitter for South Alabama. Gabby Stagner looks at ball 1. Stagner, the Mobile kid, not from too far away from where the team plays in Mobile, or high school, 4 miles down the road from South Alabama Stadium. I always wonder, how does that fare? I mean, sometimes maybe you're too close to home. Sometimes it's great because you're really family-oriented, and it has certainly suited Stagner quite well.
It all depends. If you are somebody who wants to be able to travel back home, to be able to see your family, not just more than holidays and going back home every few months, but be able to have that ability if you need to, that's a great option for you. And then there's some people who say, you know, I'm a little indifferent. I could stay close to home. I could go far. And then there's people who said, nope, I want to travel cross country. It really depends on the player. But I do think being an athlete in college, you don't have a ton of time to be traveling home quite as much as you might think.
3-1, called strike 2.
A typical day, you work out, you go to class, you have practice, you eat, you do homework, you go to bed, repeat again and again and again. That's why
payoff.
This season is so fun, this part of the season, because you have no school, you're out.
Right.
You just get to play softball. That's all you have to worry about. And it's, I don't know, I will say, coaches replace a lot of the school part with more softball, so you have 2 days, but I mean, you have to really love the sport to be able to play in college.
3-2 is drilled foul. You do hear that a lot, though, from college softball players. You know, you get to be treated a little bit more like a pro. You just play softball, eat, work out, and kind of that's your day. And if you are playing at this kind of level, that is your ideal kind of day.
Get a day on the beach. Maybe a day on the field.
Pitch number 8 is ball 4.
Neat battle by Stagner. The first walk that Keegan Rothrock has allowed. She's thrown 12 innings, and going into SEC tournament, that was where, I don't want to say she was a weak point there, but that was something that if she really wanted to elevate as an elite pitcher, That's where she needed to tighten up. That's where she needed to sharpen. And that's what we've seen so far this tournament. Not saying one walk is devastating, but if you're South Alabama, we talked about it, what can you exploit? What can you prevent the swings and misses? What do you want to hunt?
Sasha Willems certainly feeling good after last night's barrage of power with those duo of home runs. The Australian native hit not one but two, her first home runs since last.
Lackey warming up that next half inning. We just saw the biggest smile on her face. I mean, that's what you live for. That is why you handle those two-a-days of softball in postseason, for those moments right there.
She was just exuding confidence on that last one. You could see the point only a few feet into the jog. That made it 5-1. She knew what was on board. Big cut and a miss. 2-2.
Aki, arm a little bit tired, but you still have one part of that battery behind the plate. You still have a big piece of your offense in the box right now.
Swing and a miss, went up in the zone back-to-back times, and South Alabama 3 wins away from 1,100 in his storied coaching career. He was the second fastest coach to reach 1,000 wins back in that Women's College World Series season of 2022.
And he was only behind who else? And Mike Candrea. I mean, you're in good company whenever your name is alongside his.
Gators try to add on to this 2-0 advantage. Brown, Kowalewski, Williams all do. 7-8-9 against Miller. Brown 1 for 4 this weekend, but the one was a pretty big one, a solo shot off of Olivia Lackey to tie the game up at 1 just before the rain delay of yesterday. 2 hours and 42 minutes we waited for the lightning to strike and the rain to come down, but finally it was uninterrupted after that, and we got games 5, 6, or 4, 3, 4, and 5 in pretty easily.
To your point, she's only 1 for 4, but that home run, it completely changed the energy because Olivia Lackey, she was doing a pretty good job of shutting them down.
Bouncer in the hole. Brandstetter fields and fires. Nice dig out by Stagner for out number 1.
Great dig, especially backhanded. That is not easy, knowing, do I come forward? Do I lit that ball? Take that extra hop, but watch the reach. A little bit of quickness, but the whole time she's trying to think head behind the glove, watch it all the way in, and then the quick close to make sure it doesn't fall out. That's the most important part. Keep the ball in the glove.
1 out for the freshman Ariel Kowalewski, part of the 3 first-year players in a row at the bottom of this lineup. Brown, Kowalewski, and then Mia Williams on deck. One thing we have been treated to here in Gainesville this weekend, exceptional defense. And really from all 4 teams across the board. I mean, Florida Atlantic was one of the top 10 fielding percentages in the entire country. Florida, 975. They're in the top 25. South Alabama just south of 968. And if you can get to 970, 975, you're an excellent fielding club. Last time that Miller faced Kowalewski, it was the end of the ball game. Kowalewski walked it off with an RBI single. A run rule 5-inning win. And she'll greet Miller with a base hit in her first at-bat on a Sunday afternoon.
Miller, we saw her struggle with that up pitch in the zone. She's stayed lower this inning. But whenever you stay there time after time after time, a hitter like Kowalewski, Florida, they're going to make adjustments. The way that she's able to go down, her body's out in front, but the extension through the ball, the backhand staying through it, posture staying down as well.
Bunted by Williams to third, throw off balance, out of the glove of Cordova. Everyone's safe.
And what a benefit. That one was squared around, positioned as a sack bunt. So you just right now want to move your runners over, get it to the top of the lineup, have somebody in scoring position. And that was executed very well. But Williams, she is speeding down that line. She is well within her right, has running into the base path. And I think a little bit Cordova, I want to say she was standing closer to the runner's baseline than the outside half of the bag, and that made it difficult for her to stretch without running into Williams.
I think Becky Clark wants to take a look at this, talking to plate umpire Chris Neighbors.
Yeah.
So if she is not in between those two white lines, there's a chance. Let's see.
The ruling on the field is that there's no interference at first base. In the ruling, the play's under further review.
All right, so South Alabama is challenging the fact that there is no interference. So again, it's all about the footpath of Mia Williams down the first baseline. Did she impede with Cordova because she was out of that baseline?
Important thing to look at right now, Williams, she steps in the middle of the bag.
She steps at the very end in the middle of the bag. I think we can agree when she's running down there, she is inside the line. But if she does step towards the middle of the bag.
Isn't a collision, but there's been so many this year and years past. A couple years ago, it resulted in somebody having to go to the emergency room. I think it's a necessary change. I mean, if it increases the safety of the athletes, the runner and the fielder, why wouldn't you want to implement that?
Absolutely agree. Kendra Falby now, as Kowalewski has to retreat back to first base with 2 away here in the second inning. That could be a very important play in the span of this game. Certainly changes the momentum back in South Alabama's favor. Falby to second. Cordova goes the short way and flips to Sims in plenty of time to get South Alabama out of his second.
Whenever you go, first of all, whenever you go into a game as an athlete, you have to know what you want, but also whenever you're transferring, you have to know what you want. And that's what Tim Walton said. A lot of his transfers, they came in and they had the experience. High school, you have no idea what college is like. Whenever you're a transfer, you've had your experience. You know what you like. You know what you don't. You know what you're looking for.
South Alabama's season is on the line. A loss and it's over, and the career of Olivia Lackey would be over as well, as that's punched out to left and past a diving Otis. Just a turn there for Bailey Welch, but she's on to start off the second.
The key for South Alabama against Rothrock, eliminate that high rise, whether that means stepping up to the front of the box to avoid having to decide, okay, is this one the low one, or is this rise the one that's going to finish over my head? Whatever you have to do, look for the screwball. Whatever it is, you have to start eliminating pitches. Because 2-0, I mean, that is within, you think at what South Alabama typically scores, they're around the 4 range. 2-0, that is within their range.
Sasha Willems would single-handedly have provided that in last night's win with a couple of swings of the bat. Odalis Cordova now, though, 1 for 6 with the hit by pitch here at the Gainesville Regional. Didn't miss by much.
It's a nice pitch from Rothrock. She's been working the lower half of the zone, and then she'll go back with the high rise, trying to tempt those hitters. But an 0-2, that's a tough one to take.
Punch that one out down the first base line and falls in that foul Bermuda Triangle. Jocelyn Erickson, who has saved almost 14 defensive runs this year, the most in the country. I mean, look at these defensive numbers. Opponents have stolen 9 bases in 21 attempts. You just do not see those type of numbers in the game of softball.
The fact that there's only 21 attempts against her means they already know.
challenged Cordova up in the zone. Third strikeout of the game for Rothrock.
And that's what we've been seeing. Go low, and then she'll go back up to that rise ball. Just change the zone. The command of her location and her movement, not necessarily being able to spot a pitch on the corner, which she does very well. But the fact that whenever she releases the ball, Rothrock knows it's going to start at this location and it's going to finish here. So I can place it. And the mental ability to trust your pitches like that allows for those swings and misses.
Erickson perilously close for South Alabama to taking Bailey Welch off of the base paths. 0-2 though on Gonzalez.
Erickson said, I don't like whenever people not just steal against me, but score against me. So trying to do everything she can to help out her pitcher.
Well, Chris Neighbors behind the plate is not giving Erickson or Rothrock very much off the outside part of the plate here early on. Tight zone.
That one looks good. That is a good pitch from Rothrock. You can see Erickson, she held that, stuck it a little bit, just letting the umpire know, hey, where's that missing?
2-2's in there, though. Erickson, the third best framer behind the plate this season, does a nice job there.
This one, okay, can't get her up. I'm going to go with that screwball low and inside. That one has been consistently called day after day, pitch after pitch, especially today with the tight zone.
Olivia Brandstetter takes inside. Bailey Welch with that leadoff single, but then back-to-back strikeouts of Cordova and Gonzalez. Brandstetter still looking for her first hit of this regional, 0 for 7. She was dropped from the 6th spot down to 8th today. Maybe that ball dancing a little bit more as well. Just 2 strikeouts for Rothrock against South Alabama yesterday, and she has right now only recorded 5 outs, 4 of them via the K. There's strike 2. Excellent spot on the inside.
And I think part of that comes from her incorporating that curve screw a little bit more than she did yesterday. So now that rise ball, the jump, the angle that your barrel has to be at is, again, different from a low rise, high rise. The angle of the bat is the same, just the location of where that pitch is ending up. That's a little different, but whenever you have to deal with a curve screw rise, that makes it more challenging.
Two and two. Right back through the box, and there is Falby. Has the 2-run home run that has made the difference in this game, and Tori Miller's back out there for inning number 3.
Miller, a good adjustment with the lower half of the lineup, but this is where she ran into trouble. Back to back to back hard hits.
Otis is poised to potentially set the single season record for batting average for Florida. It was set by Skylar Wallace last year at 447. Right now she's at 459, so she's got a little bit of leeway still to work with.
I mean, you look at the company that you're in, if you're Tim Walton, you're loving this half of the lineup. Especially Otis leading off this inning. She gets on a lot.
She's been on base 56 out of the 60 games that Florida has played this year.
I'm sick. I'm sick hearing that stat.
2-2 ripped into left field. Leadoff single for Otis here in the 3rd.
And that's why, because of her ability not only to hit the high pitches, be patient, drawing a walk her last at bat, but this is an off-speed, left over the middle of the plate, elevated waist high, and she just drives it through the 5-6 hole. clean, straight to the point. She's going to be consistent.
What a season she has had. I mean, she was exceptional at Louisville. .414 batting average. First team All-ACC, but I mean, she has blossomed into one of the best players in the entire country here on the highest stage in the SEC. Just named a top 10 finalist for USA Softball Player of the Year. Wallace, who won NFCA Player of the Year last season, as well as SEC Player of the Year, steps in, and it's been very difficult to retire her for anybody that's not wearing a Florida uniform here this weekend. Gave it a ride all the way out to the deepest part of the ballpark, dead center, 220 to get it out that far, and was robbed by a beautiful catch by Brasher, crashing into the wall. Runner goes, Otis is in there. Corby Otis' 13th stolen base.
It's a good throw by Willems. You think about the slide by Otis. Look how she's laying her body down. She flattens her body, doesn't keep the chest up when sliding, avoids the tag before her foot touches.
Wallace takes the walk. And that brings up Jocelyn Erickson. Now after that,
That's her wheelhouse. That's where she wants to live. And if she's coming up now, she probably won't get a hard pitch in that location. I wouldn't want to throw that pitch again to her. She's done it time and time again.
Erickson, with 3 more runs driven in, would tie Megan Bush for the most RBIs in a single season. 80 by Megan Bush in 2011. And to think that she could potentially have upwards of 6, 7 games left in this season if Florida's able to win today and keep advancing all the way to Oklahoma City.
And you think at what's at stake here for South Alabama, they're in a precarious situation. They win, and then they force the if game. They force Game 7. Florida, they've been there. They've done that. They just need to secure the win today. Game 1. They want to be one and done and get out of here. Get off their feet, relax, rest up, start prepping. There's regionals all across the country that are wrapping up right now. A few of them, you see Texas, they were one of the first teams to punch their ticket. Alabama, in run rule fashion. I wasn't quite expecting that score. You'll always love it whenever the bats show up.
Scored 12 runs. The number 4 seed was able to advance to the regional final in Tuscaloosa, southeastern Louisiana, run rolled in 5 innings by Alabama. Give the Lions a lot of credit working their way through that Tuscaloosa regional losers bracket.
Very tough game with Alabama the first time they matched up. A couple tough games with Clemson, who everybody was thinking, okay, that's going to be the matchup.
And they are very careful right now with Erickson, but it would load the bases for Reagan Walsh, who has singled already today. By the way, Texas A&M has officially punched their ticket to the Super, shutting out Texas State. High drive to right field. Bachhaus watches it off of the wall. Otis getting the go-ahead from third. Here's the throw. It is late. Everyone moves up. RBI double for Erickson. She's knocked in all 3 Florida runs.
I think at this point, you just have to say, do not pitch to Jocelyn Erickson. This one, low and outside, goes and takes it. That is what Florida Gators, they've been able to do so well. And I mean, that's as close as you can get without hitting another home run.
Real danger zone right now for South Alabama. 2 in scoring position for Reagan Walsh, and still nobody gone in the top of the 3rd. Olivia Lackey was warming up for the Jaguars, and I wonder if she will resume at some point. Right now she is not throwing yet. 0-1 into left field. Coming on, it's off of the glove of Welch. Wallace scores. Erickson stays at third, and Walsh is into second. 4-0, Florida.
A great read by Walsh, base running wise. As soon as you hit that ball, immediately you become a runner, and everybody's focus was Erickson over at third base, and she takes advantage, and Walsh runs over to second. Tough. That's an attempt to be able to. Welch was trying to slide. Clark, right now she's wanting to stop the bleeding. There's no outs, and whenever the Gators get going, it is very hard to stop that momentum that comes from that dugout because they pass the bat time and time again. They communicate very well. They feed off each other's emotion and energy. In South Alabama, they just need to find a way to get outs.
This is Lagel's first appearance since March 29th. And almost nipped Ava Brown and brought another run in. 5 straight have reached here to start off the third. 2 have come in to score, and the bases are juiced for Florida. Brown's 0 for 1 with a ground ball to third.
Right now, third is the last place that you want to go. The middles for South Alabama playing very deep, heels on the grass, and also pinched up the middle closer to second base. You want to hit it there, even if it is a ground ball. Allow a run to score.
Just downstairs on 1-1. Huge crowd has showed out here on a Sunday afternoon. Yes, it's certainly hot out there, but they are used to the heat here in Gainesville, and they have come out to try to send Florida into the Super Regionals. Good cut on 2-1. I mean, what a spot for Legel to come in here.
It's a tough position to be in, but right now it's trusting your stuff. It is knowing, okay, play free. This is not maybe the ideal situation, but this is what you get. Make the most of it. That's why you practice. That's why you have bullpens all year long.
2-2 back up the middle, dunks in. Erickson scores. Walsh around third. The throw comes to third. 2 more runs in for the Gators. It's a 2-run single off the bat of Brown. The bats have erupted here in the third, and they're out on here for Florida.
This one over the middle of the plate, and Ava Brown makes her pay. And this is a great decision by Brasher. She's not able to get the run that's going home. She throws it over to third base, makes sure she holds up another runner over at third base. That was smart decisions by her.
So first and second now for Kowalewski, who singled her first time up. Is it fair to wonder why not bring in Lackey? Why not to get her warmed up?
I think so. I mean, she's had majority of the innings, save for very few. We'll see Willems going in, grabbing a different glove. Laces might have ripped on that one.
That's why you bring 2.
That's why you bring 2, I guess. I don't know. I was an outfielder. I didn't have 2 gloves like catchers do. I don't know.
Ball
But
and no strikes on Kowalewski.
It is a thought because of not only her being your best pitcher, but also being a senior.
The last
this
game of her
potentially
career.
being the last game.
And you would wonder, would you want it to be in her hands in some way? And I understand that you have to play in some ways for the next game. Even if you do win, you've got to win one more time against Florida, which is a tall order. But you don't get to Game 7 if you don't win Game 6. And now it makes you kind of wonder as well if this is the way this game is going to go. How much longer do we see Keegan Rothrock in the circle? Do we save her arm a little bit going into supers? And that's ball 4, and it gets by Willems. Both runners will move up anyway on the walk. 2+ innings, giving up 6 hits, 6 earned, 2 walks, no strikeouts. It's up to Madison Lagle now to face Mia Williams. And remember, you got to get all the way through 5 in order to be in run rule territory, but 8 runs through 5. Florida's setting themselves up for just that situation.
Madison Lagle, the pitcher for South Alabama right now, she hasn't had a ton of innings and certainly not experiences in the circle like this so far this year. There's that feeling of pressure, and sometimes pitchers, their job is extremely difficult. There's a lot riding on where you can pitch and place and spin a ball, and sometimes it can feel like you are isolated in the middle of the circle. Right now,
slow chopper to third. They're going to come home and get the force. Nicely done by Brandstetter, and that cuts down Kistler at home plate, 5-2.
Right now, those are the pitches that you want to get from your pitcher. An easy ground ball to your third baseman. Willems, nice job hanging on to it, looking around, seeing if there's any other opportunity anywhere else, but keeping those runs off the board, making plays defensively.
Now Kendra Falby, as the lineup turns back over, Florida is batted around officially. Falby with her double back in the 5th inning yesterday, moving into the top 10 in her career with most hits, 243 of them. Back to the screen. Had 83 hits this year, 85 last year. And it's a venerable modern-day murderer's row when you talk about college softball lineups.
I mean, Falby, she's a great hitter, and you talk about hits all time, but look at Otis, look at Wallace, look at Erickson, look at Walsh. Those numbers that they are putting up with their OPS is just, you don't find all of those numbers stacked up against each other in a lineup too often, and you might only find 2 most of the time.
That's why this is one of the best offenses in the entire country. And maybe the biggest reason that they've got a great shot of advancing to, once again, another Women's College World Series. Shallow fly to Brasher. Let's see if they test her. Brown stays put. And now 2 away. How does what Florida is able to put out day in, day out in their starting lineup compare to the best that you had at Oklahoma?
I'm a little biased. I think that 2021, I can say it because we're done with that year, but I think that 2021 team might have been one of the best teams of all time.
Hard to argue.
But offensively, I know what it's like to have that stacked lineup in the momentum that it builds. I mean, as a competitor, it fuels you, and you see your team doing well. You see your person in front of you, your person behind you doing well, and you don't feel pressure. You just feel relaxed. Okay, if I don't get it done, they will. That's what makes it easy.
Nowhere to put Otis. She started this 3rd inning with a single. Came around to score on Jocelyn Erickson's base hit, and the floodgates open from there. RBI double for Walsh, 2-run single Brown. All in all, it has been 4 in here in the 3rd. And to think that Corby Otis is just a junior.
I don't want to think about it. She's lethal. This is going to be fun to watch her, not just throughout the rest of this year, but next year as well.
At least 1 in, Kowalewski, and without a throw as well. 2 more runs for Florida. Corby Otis with a 2-run single back through the box, and Florida's put up a snowman on South Alabama.
Corby Otis. Yeah, I'm going to enjoy watching this player time and time again. Putting up the chomp signs. Florida, they're up 8-0. I don't think I've ever heard snowman before, but I think I'm going to steal it. I like that.
Here's Skylar Wallace now. 2 outs and 2 on. Nicole, not a big golfer, I guess.
Only in middle school.
A snowman is something you really love to see if you're going to be on the softball field and you're at the plate. It is not what you want to see on your scorecard if you're a golfer, though. I can tell you that much. One and one now. What a third inning. 6 runs in, following up that 2-run first on the shot by Jocelyn Erickson over the right field wall. And it continues into right center field. The wheels keep going round and round. Going to hold Otis at third, but now it's 9.
Skylar Wallace, the ability to see where this defense is set up, those middles, they were pinched up. And she pulls this one inside. And look at these defenders. They are pinched up the middle, and so whenever she goes to swing, there's a wide open gap. That's not even the 3-4 hole. That's where second base normally stands. But knowing that, seeing that, she's able to anticipate, okay, this is where this pitch is going to come. This is where there's a gap. 7 runs here in the third inning, and it has come from hard hit after hard hit after a hard hit. There's only been 1 home run this game. And that, to me, is the most impressive part because you know that these girls are passing the bat.
Jocelyn Erickson takes strike 1. And still, runners in scoring position here for the Gators. Erickson yet to be retired. Otis leads off a third. Wallace on second.
Erickson, she's going after... Excuse me. Well, she's going after Erickson pretty hard. Somebody who her last 2 at-bats, the first one was the solo, or the first only home run this game, but then the second one, I think maybe 2 inches too low to be a home run. Go after him. Get outs.
Erickson flips it over to short. And Sims has it to bring the third to a merciful close if you're just about every pitch of the Gainesville Regional. But Brown is not a solid or not a bad option number 2.
Not a bad option number 2 indeed. Brown, her and Rothrock going into the conference tournament, they were neck and neck, A1, A2. She is a very strong pitcher. She throws in the mid-60s. Sometimes her off-speed will take her down to the high 50s. But she likes to attack the zone. And her off-speed, this is my favorite part about her. Her off-speed can be thrown in any count. And what an outing that Keegan Rothrock has had, not only today, but this entire regional.
So if she is indeed done here in Gainesville, it means that she gave up just 1 run in 13 1/3 innings with 9 strikeouts and 1 walk. Pretty good weekend at the office there for Keegan. But I think, something that I would imagine is going to go through the head of Gators fans. This is just the start. I mean, it gets much tougher in the Supers, and then if you are able to and fortunate enough to advance to Oklahoma City, it's an absolute gauntlet, and you have to be playing your best softball, and if not, your season's going to be over. Got her swinging, and Brooklyn Bachhaus is down for the first time here in the third.
There is that off speed from Ava Brown, low in the zone. She's so deceptive. I mean, you can see that drop. It starts above the knee and it finishes down in the dirt. And I love this from Tim Walton because, like you said, the competition only gets harder, and Rothrock is such a phenomenal pitcher.
One hop over to Wallace, 2 away to the new first baseman. Avery Gales coming in with Brown shifting over to the circle.
But the farther into postseason you go, the more detailed, the better. The scout, the preparation, the attack. Having a staff and having Ava Brown be able to get postseason experience, that is big because it settles the nerves, allows her to be ready, and great job by the offense of Florida, up 9-0 here in the bottom of the third to provide her with that opportunity.
Well, we know we are certainly going to have a non-host advance because in Fayetteville, Arkansas was knocked out last night, and it's looking more and more like it's going to be the Wildcats out of the Pac-12. Arizona leading Villanova 7-0 in the top of the fourth. As Kowalewski squeezes it, and it's a 1-2 is going to play Game 7. Last year, it was on LSU's field, and in Baton Rouge, they won an absolutely insane Game 7 at that. That was I was down there for that. I mean, one of the most memorable games you could ever witness. Because it was incredible. Louisiana scores 6 in Game 7 in the top of the first inning. And then LSU comes back, scores 1 in the second, 6 in the third to take the lead. Louisiana ties it up in the fifth, and then scores 2 in the seventh inning to take a 9-8 advantage, and they shut out LSU in the bottom half of the seventh. And these are two teams really with absolutely no love lost between the two of them. I mean, if you know the story of those two programs, it is incredible what a weekend that was. And right now it's a 2-2 score in the third inning between Louisiana and Baylor. Floated over to left, there's Welch as Reagan Walsh is put away, out number 1 here in the fourth.
And to that point, the winner of Baylor in Louisiana, they're going to come here. If the score holds 9-0 with Florida winning here in the top of the fourth, they would come here to Gainesville. So it does not matter who it is that wins. If the score, again, if it holds Florida, they would be able to host at home. That is big time.
Well, the biggest thing about the regular season having the type of success like Florida has had is because you are rewarded when the NCAA tournament bracket comes out. Slow squib, that's going to be in there. Little swinging bunt there for Bailey Goddard here in a pinch hit roll in the fourth.
And on that one, it just looked like Williams. She peeked over to third base and thought Brandstetter, she was going to come in crashing and field that ball. She hesitated for just enough to be able to get that run over to first base, that batter over to first base.
And the Gators have really had a season that warrants the number 4 national seed. They only lose one SEC series, fell to Missouri. They won their 6th SEC tournament championship, getting a little bit of revenge as well over the Tigers in the final. 10th hit for Florida there on that infield single. So we're going to get a pinch hitter here for Ava Brown. Yeah.
Skylar Wallace knows she's on camera.
She knows where the camera is at all times. And she knows what people want to see.
Give us the moves.
She's got them. I'm not sure anyone across the country impresses you more with the maturity and the drive and the work ethic. I mean, there are a lot of great softball players out there, but with how comfortable it seems like she is right now, being on this stage, I mean, her 5th year, coming over here to Florida, realizing that she has so much that she could accomplish here with this Gators program, and that's exactly what she's done. I mean, 2 National Player of the Year type seasons to end her career.
If you think about it, she started out at Alabama. And this is the great thing about the transfer portal. If it's not the right fit for you, the ability as an athlete to find a place that is. And you see what happens whenever you find your spot, and it's nothing against a coaching staff or nothing against you as a player, but it's all about a right fit. And sometimes getting recruited, I mean, she's kind of the last few, this freshman class, this sophomore class, the last few to be committed at the early age of 7th graders, 8th graders. You don't really know what the right fit is, right? I think in 7th or 8th grade, I wanted to be, I don't even know what it was, maybe interior design.
An astronaut?
I don't know.
Not an astronaut.
But it goes back to what Tim Walton was saying of the transfers. They know what they want, they understand, and they have that maturity.
3-2 is inside, and there is a 1-out walk here to Hovermill. Do you still want to do interior design?
Only on my own home.
And we may be seeing a lot of substitutions here coming up for Tim Walton, trying to get some NCAA tournament experience to different players. And here is Emily Wilkie.
You mentioned this is a tough lineup to crack, and not necessarily because the girls sitting on the bench are not ready for it, but defensively, the way that things have shifted and shaken out, he needs certain players in certain spots. So the offense, it's been tough to crack into the lineup.
Wilkie this year appearing in her 26th game, a home run, 10 runs driven in. First and second, 1 out. Florida trying to add to that 9-0 lead. Wilkie tags it fair, it's gone, just foul. And wouldn't that have put a jolt into this KSP crowd on a Sunday?
The Gator, I think he's crying a little bit. He wanted that one to be
Albert
fair.
Albert is sad.
This one over the middle of the plate, and Wilkie, she just does what she does, right? She lets the pitch come to her, big swing. That's what you want to do as a pitch hitter, take your hacks.
Ball and 2 strikes here on Wilkie. Her eyes lighting up here with the only plate appearance of the Gainesville Regional 4. And got that one off the end of the bat. Behind second, Sims. 2 outs.
I have to say, I've been very impressed with Williams and how she's handled coming into this game and being able to make the
NCAA championships. Super Regionals here in college softball next weekend, and then following Thursday, we are live on ESPN from Oklahoma City. High fly, right field, Bachhaus drifting, and makes the play just in front of the wall. How about Brooke Barnard coming in to pinch hit, giving not be surprised with the score. And kind of a situation now where Florida can let up. They gave some quality pinch hit at bats to some little-used players last inning, and a chance to experience the NCAA tournament because not everybody gets that. In fact, very few do when you talk about over the course of time how many college softball players get to play in this venue.
Absolutely. And then you never know what happens in postseason. It is crazy. So being able to give the experience, you never know who's going to get hot at what moment, who's going to step up in those games. Being able to have experience, that's big. And talk about somebody who is extremely hot right now. Jocelyn Erickson, she's getting to rest those legs a little bit. But she has been phenomenal for Florida, not just offensively, but behind the plate, saving a ton of runs, working for her pitchers. The way that she frames the ball and commands her pitchers, you can feel that she is, I don't know if this is a term, but the charger of the battery. She really makes her teammates feel, her pitchers feel like she's got them.
Wallace smothers and fires. Gabby Stagner out here to start off the 4th inning. Well, we've seen her make those throws from her knees, but decided this time I'm going to get up and fire it over as fast as I can.
I think she had a little bit more time on this one. This one was hit hard. And Wallace knowing, okay, as long as I got this one blocked, I have time to go ahead, get up on my feet. Nice little shuffle, toss it over to first.
One out for Sasha Willems. Florida has made a slew of defensive changes as well that we'll get to in just a moment. Reagan Walsh comes into the game to play third base. You know, she was someone that they had explored as a potential shortstop option, but made some errors early on and was more relegated to designated player, where she has clearly excelled. Avery Gels, who came in for Brown, still at first base. We mentioned that since Erickson is in the dugout, Emily Wilkie stays in to catch Ava Brown, and then Goddard for Kistler in right.
Brown just missing on that lower half of the corner, but Willems, she has been on fire. You think about her 2 home runs yesterday, just seeing the ball well, a little eager her first at bat, but it's that rise ball that really gets her. Nice job by Brown going up in the zone, getting the K. I mean, it starts and just continues to go up. I think it finishes over the head. Whenever you as a pitcher have the ability to go with low in the zone, off speeds, then every once in a while just bust that bad boy out. It's a good day.
Falby back, still back, takes a look as it takes a hop off of the wall, and Bailey Welch is going to pull into second. She has not been retired. A single and now a double on her mark here in the fourth.
This one is a screwball. Left over the plate. I feel like I've been saying this. The ones that have been hit hard, just a little bit too much plate, but great job by Falby knowing, okay, I can't catch this one. I've been burned. I'm going to catch it off the wall and be able to throw it in quick.
Dallas Cordova now. You know, this game might be a little bit out of hand, but these are important innings for Ava Brown because it cannot just be the Keegan Rothrock show if you're going to win a national championship. You have to have a plan B at some point. And if it is Ava Brown, she is going to need to pitch in these types of environments.
Absolutely. And then, again, you said game's getting a little bit out of hand. South Alabama, they still have at-bats left. You want to make the most of every single at-bat all the time, but especially when this might be the very last game of your season, and for a few of these girls, the last game of their career.
High chop, that's off of the glove of Walsh. They're going to send Welch around third, and the throw is cut off. South Alabama is on the board here in the fourth.
And that has been the MO of Cordova, a very choppy, top hand heavy swing, and with this field it has been so bouncy. We've seen a lot of ground balls just bounce over the head of the infield into the outfield, and South Alabama, we talked about it, being able to produce those runs, make the most of every single at bat they get.
Stephanie Gonzalez now with 1 out, or 2 outs and 1 on. Fouled away. LSU able to take down Southern Illinois quite easily with the 9-0 run rule win. Another national seed moves on, as well as Oklahoma, though this was a tight one in Norman, but was able to get by Oregon by a final score of 3-2.
Keeping my eye on that one throughout the weekend.
Spots are being filled up in earnest right now.
I mean,
coming fast and furious.
They are just rolling right in. Florida trying to go ahead. I'd see another Big 12. We might see another SEC with Florida. And then right now, Louisiana and Baylor, they've been battling it out in the 7th game, the necessary game. The winner of that game is going to come here and play the winner of this game. And right now, as it stands, it's going to be Florida.
3-2 is the lead for the Ragin' Cajuns in the top of the 4th over the Bears, though a long way from that one being finished in Lafayette. Be the 2nd straight trip to the Supers for Jerry Glasgow's team. Bouncer to Brown, and she can't pick it cleanly on the backhand.
And Gonzalez way out in front. That was a good pitch and good delivery by Brown, but she had to go about 4 or 5 steps outside of that circle. And whenever you know you have a shortstop like Skylar Wallace behind you, I wouldn't try and go for that one, no matter how slow rolling it is. I would let her go ahead and grab that one. And if you're South Alabama, you're sensing, I don't want to say weakness, but you're sensing a little bit of vulnerability right now. Take advantage, continue to pass the bat. That is what Florida did. That's how they scored all of their runs. Continue to pass the bat, hitter to hitter.
Caitlin Gavin comes in to pinch run for Gonzalez at first base. It's a really important run at second base right now, even though they're down by 8. Floated left field on the run. Otis grabs it and holds.
And so great for her team, just carrying the load, not just this year, not just this regional, but her entire career. And what she means to head coach Becky Clark, what Becky Clark means to her, it is something very, very special. And you love to see that bond.
Kendra Falby punches it, and that's exactly what she does so well. Going to go to second. Here's the throw. Not in time. Falby runs a 2-6 from home to first. It is even quicker once she rounds first base heading to second.
Falby bounces it knowing that that ball is going to get through into the outfield. Risky move right there, but it pays off for Falby.
So the leadoff now on for the Gators. And we're going to get a challenge from South Alabama.
Challenge ruling.
So they're going to challenge the play at second base, is what we're being told.
And it's going to be on this tag right here. It was so bang, bang. And I think she barely gets that foot in.
From
Cordova, that tag just not fast enough applied. And also, I want to say, by her moving her foot around.
And so it's a double for Falby.
Got to risk it for the biscuit. That's the way to go. And especially whenever you have a 9-1 lead, you can go ahead and take those risks where otherwise, if it's a closer game, you probably won't.
And here is Corby Otis, yet to be retired. 2 for 2 with a walk. Takes strike 1. Couple of runs scored. All but 2 Florida Gators have scored a run in this game. The only other ones starting, Kistler and Falby, but that could change here if Falby's able to cross the plate and give the Gators their 10th run of the game.
I think the fans are trying to give the Gators help with that 10th run too. Have you heard them out in the crowd trying to get some momentum going?
Coming out on quite a hot Sunday afternoon to spend it with their Florida softball team. Otis looks at strike 3.
That's the first time she's been retired today, and I love Lackey coming into this inning and just throwing free, being herself, especially after what Falby did, her first at-bat against her, going, all right, that's fine. Next batter, here we go.
And that next batter, Skylar Wallace. Jocelyn Erickson on deck, who's driven in 3 already today.
Lackey tight in. She does not want to make the mistake of giving Skylar Wallace anything over the plate. She's going to be working tight in on the hands.
Gators looking for a little bit more breathing room, and they will try to finish this one off in the bottom of the 5th inning. As it is right now, the run rule is in effect. But of course, if South Alabama scores, it would go away, and Wallace is on here with a 1-out walk.
And I think that's the importance for Florida right now. You never want to leave it to chance. If you're looking for the run rule, if you're looking to end this game early, you need to push at least one more. You want to have that confidence. And who else do you want up to bat? Talk about confidence. Than the one who has hit 1 and almost 2 home runs this game, Jocelyn Erickson.
Olivia Lackey with 41 career shutouts, the second most in Sun Belt history. These are going to be probably the final pitches that she throws in her storied career. And there goes Falby to third.
Falby, she's really trying to get that run across. And Lackey, she saw it happening, unbothered. She just turned around. She goes, I don't care.
Two and 1 to Erickson.
Right now, Lackey, her focus is all at the plate with Jocelyn Erickson, making sure that she does have a spare base to give, but she is not leaving those pitches over the zone. She is staying tight on those corners.
Lackey with, including today, 873 career strikeouts. Someone that will absolutely be missed tremendously in Mobile. Runner on the move, and that's ball 4 anyway. Back-to-back bases on balls to Wallace and Erickson, and the bases are juiced. It's tough, but for every team but one, there are going to be players on them playing their final games in college softball. It's the most ruthless part of the NCAA tournament, and I believe something that nobody really loves to see. But that's how difficult it is in sports. And just, speaking with a bird's eye view, only one team celebrates at the end of a season. At any point. Right at third, Brandstetter steps on third, but not in time. Good job by Falby to scamper back in.
I mean, that happened bang, bang. Heads up by both of these athletes, not only catching it from Brandstetter, but Falby realizing that's getting back. Woo! Bang, bang.
Like a coordinated dance over there. Big cut and a miss. Goddard pinch hit for Katie Kistler back in the 4th and was able to reach on a single.
South Alabama, they've been a team that last year they were waiting. This year they knew they were going to get in. They just weren't sure where they were going to go. They have experience in postseason. You're going to see them again. A lot of success against SEC teams earlier in the year. And just tough because Lackey was ridden so hard this regional. I believe that's why she wasn't started today. Her arm, she's tired, she's exhausted. They didn't get done until so late last night.
That is something that we really haven't mentioned too much, but South Alabama, because they had to play that second elimination game of the day, they got back to the hotel at 12:15 in the morning, had their pregame meal at noon today, And there is strike 3. So it was a very quick turnaround past Blair Johnson for the most games played in school history. Lifted to left center, and a nice sliding grab by Falby as Bachhaus is the first out of the 5th.
Nice pitch. Squared up by Bachhaus. I mean, you thought for a moment that one might get down, but look at the closing speed of Falby and her ability to track that all the way in. Man, she just doesn't let anything drop whenever it gets out there. And South Alabama, right now, they got 2 more outs left.
So here is Brasher, who owns the program record with 27 stolen bases. She's got a couple of them already this weekend, 0 for 2 today. Looking to close out her career potentially on a really high note. Left side just out of the reach of Otis. Florida's 2 outs away from getting to the Super Regionals.
Both of these teams, hard-fought regional. They came about it a different way. Florida, their offense really taking off. And then South Alabama, they've had tight, low-scoring games, a little bit more pitchers' duels. But they found ways to get to here today. No matter what, you look at what both of these teams done in regular season, in their conference tournament, what they had to do just to get here today, and it is incredible.
Cutting a miss from Brasher, pulled the string on her, and now 2-2. If Florida does win, they're going to host a Super Regional against the champion of the Lafayette Regional between Baylor and Louisiana, as that one is cut on and missed, and Ava Brown has South Alabama down to their final out. Right now it is a 4-3 lead as Baylor has taken the edge over Louisiana in the top of the 5th as they play on in that winner-take-all Game 7. Final hope for the Jaguars is Marley Sims. Looks like they're going to come up short. Once again, made it to 4 straight regional finals between 2012 and 2015. Their first trip to the NCAA tournament since 2021, which also ended in Gainesville. And now, South Alabama down to its final strike. Florida buoyed by a 7-run third. 0-2 to Sims. Right back to Brown, and that'll do it. For the 15th time, Florida's moving on to the Super Regionals.
And as much as you hate to see a team have to have their season end, on the other end of it, the other side of it, Florida, what they have worked through, how they've communicated, how they have grown as a team from the start of the season, back all the way back in the fall to where they are now, you have to appreciate it and look at it and go, man, what a team. And if you're going to lose to anybody, Florida is a very dangerous team that can go very, very far here in this NCAA tournament.
There is not much that Schuyler and Wallace and company cannot do, and they will host a Super Regional as the Gainesville Regional comes to a final. Florida 9, South Alabama 1 is the final. Another run rule victory, the 28th in Florida's season. Right back to Brown, no question, finishing it off in style. We'll wrap everything up for Presley Stadium next. just about every pitch of the Gainesville Regional, but Brown is not a solid or not a bad option number 2.
Not a bad option number 2 indeed. Brown, her and Rothrock going into the conference tournament, they were neck and neck, A1, A2. She is a very strong pitcher. She throws in the mid-60s. Sometimes her off-speed will take her down to the high 50s. But she likes to attack the zone. And her off-speed, this is my favorite part about her. Her off-speed can be thrown in any count. And what an outing that Keegan Rothrock has had, not only today, but this entire regional.
So if she is indeed done here in Gainesville, it means that she gave up just 1 run in 13 1/3 innings with 9 strikeouts and 1 walk. Pretty good weekend at the office there for Keegan. But I think, something that I would imagine is going to go through the head of Gators fans. This is just the start. I mean, it gets much tougher in the Supers, and then if you are able to and fortunate enough to advance to Oklahoma City, it's an absolute gauntlet, and you have to be playing your best softball, and if not, your season's going to be over. Got her swinging, and Brooklyn Bachhaus is down for the first time here in the 3rd.
There is that off-speed from Ava Brown, low in the zone. She's so deceptive. I mean, you can see that drop. It starts above the knee, and it finishes down in the dirt. And I love this from Tim Walton because, like you said, the competition only gets harder, and Rothrock is such a phenomenal pitcher.
1 hop over to Wallace, 2 away to the new first baseman. Avery Gales coming in with Brown shifting over to the circle.
But the farther into postseason you go, the more detailed, the better. The scout, the preparation, the attack. Having a staff and having Ava Brown be able to get postseason experience, that is big because it settles the nerves, allows her to be ready, and great job by the offense of Florida, up 9-0 here in the bottom of the 3rd to provide her with that opportunity.
Well, we know we are certainly going to have a non-host advance because in Fayetteville, Arkansas was knocked out last night, and it's looking more and more like it's going to be the Wildcats out of the Pac-12. Arizona leading Villanova 7-0 in the top of the 4th. As Kowalewski squeezes it, and it's a 1-2